What's up guys, this is Yasin, and I wanted to make a Vanquish Soul video for Duelist Advanced for quite a while. Actually, it's really funny that I uploaded a Vanquish Soul K9 video before the pre-K9 support, but yeah, this deck is still extremely good for the NAWCQ as well as Oceanics and European WCQ, and also I think Central American basically everywhere around the world except for Asia and South America, I think. So yeah, this deck is still really good even without K9. Exactly as I've said, it's relatively consistent-ish. It has some issues. I think the main issue that I have with Vanquish Soul is that sometimes you don't have the correct attribute for it, and that's the reason why you have to build your non-engine around Razen and Holy Sue exactly in particular. So fire and dark monsters are particularly good in Vanquish Soul. Earth are actually the worst. There's more effects that require fire and dark. I'm gonna go over that really soon. But yeah, like I said, really good deck, and it can play a huge amount of hand traps, and that's what Vanquish Soul really has going for it. Anyways, before we go any further, you already know the drill. Smash the like and subscribe button. It really motivates me a lot to keep making videos like these. And let's get into combo number one. So all I have right now is Vanquish Soul, Razen, and any fire monster. Doesn't have to be a specific fire monster. Look at what I can do. So normal summon the Razen, search the Jiaolong, and then very specifically use its effect to reveal a fire monster to make it undestructible by card effect. But the main reason why we do this is because on the resolution of you revealing a card in your hand to activate a Vanquish Soul card or effect, you can summon the Jiaolong from the hand, so we don't have to rely on the Link 1 to summon it from the hand, so that we can use the Link 1 to recycle back the Razen so that we have two fires, and then we can use the Jiaolong's effect in order to search for the field spell. In this situation, if you have the Staker Soul instead of Razen, what you should be doing is search the Mad Love instead, because instead of normal summoning the Razen, you would have special summoned it, and then you go, okay, normal summon the Mad Love, and then search the Vanquish Soul start. So it's the exact same sequencing, exact same combo, but it's one extra disruption. But yeah, anyways, activate your field spell, and then you're going to be targeting the Jiaolong in order to search for the Holy Sue, and then reveal Holy Sue, and then special summon it, and then on the end phase, you're going to be setting your Snow Devil, there we go. And on the opponent's draw phase, or standby phase, doesn't matter too much, Jiaolong effect reveal in order to search yourself for a dark monster. And that way we have a fire and dark monster right away, so that you can use a Holy Sue's effect to special summon from deck. But we also have the ability to summon the Razen from the hand. The best column for the Razen is usually the other extra monster zone, so that if you're playing against Malice, you are at the very least able to guarantee the destruction of a Link monster, even if your opponent plays around the Vanquish, so I mean the columns really well, by placing them in front of your monster. So that's one thing that people will be doing quite a lot. And also, if your opponent's first action is normal summon Razen, I usually recommend trying to get rid of that Razen before it resolves, just so that it decreases the likelihood of your opponent already having, like a fire and dark monster already in the hand. So if he has to like rely on the search in order to be successful, it's obviously better to do it before. But yeah, obviously your Razen is going to be searching for the missing piece, which is an Earth monster, so that we have the whole family now, Earth, Fire, and Dark. And we have a couple of disruptions here. So disruption number 1 is going to be the Razen to pop. Disruption number 2 is going to be the Snow Devil. Disruption number 3 is going to be the Holy Sue in order to steal. And disruption number 4 is going to be the Caesar Valius, because we have to go Burger first so that we can return back our monsters to burn 15. And then we can go Caesar Valius in order to destroy any card on the field, which is pretty nasty. So yeah, 4 disruptions, and obviously it can go to 5 with Staker Soul, and we're going to be checking that out in a second. Okay, so this time I have Staker Soul, and any fire monster, doesn't have to be anything specific. So reveal the Razen, and then, the fire monster, then summon the Razen, and you're going to be searching for Jiaolong. Again, it's exactly the same sequencing, and then recycle back the Razen so that we can search for the Mad Love. And yeah, we're going to be going, okay, summon number 5, normal summon the Mad Love, and then search the field spell, and then target the Jiaolong so that you can search the Holy Sue, or target the Mad Love. I mean, both are fire and, they're fire and dark, and we're trying to search on Earth, because you do have to search a Vanquish Soul with a different attribute from the monster that you're targeting. And by the way, the Link 1 is not a Vanquish Soul, it is Rock of the Vanquisher, so that's the reason why we cannot target it with the Link 1. And furthermore, it will not survive off of your own shop card, because, again, only the Vanquish Soul monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects, and you are destroying every monster on the field with Vanquish Soul Snow Devil, not just every monster, not every, whatever, you get the point. But yeah, this is the exact same end board as before, except that instead of having, the Holy Sue already on the field, it's in our hands, so we have, I guess, more freedom in how we want to use it on the opponent's turn. But also the Mad Love is already there, and the Mad Love is ready to bounce back a monster, the monster with the lowest defense from the field to the hand. But your monsters are pretty thick. I mean, 2000 defense from Madlove, 21 from Jialong, 22 from Holy Su, because that's going to be the third, well, I mean, the first monster that you summon on your opponent's turn. And then the Razen, even then, it's like 1500 defense. So there are some decks that have monsters with like super small defense stats, and you can just bounce them back to hand, and it doesn't target. So Madlove is a great interruption on top of absolutely everything else that you would typically have from your combo. The only difference is that the Holy Su has to be summoned on the opponent's turn if you want to respect Nibiru, because otherwise it's going to be 5 summons. And this deck has no business losing to Nibiru, because instead of making negates or playing through it, you just play around it by summoning 4 times and then doing a bunch of things on the opponent's turn. If anything, it's actually more likely that you get nibbed on your opponent's turn, which is kind of awkward, but it actually can happen if you're careless. Okay, so this time we have Vanquish Soul Razen as well as any dark monster, and also it is full combo. So normal summon, and then get your search for the Holy Su, recycle back the Razen, and then Holy Su effect, summon itself, and then reveal a Fire in the Dark to special summon a monster from the deck. That's going to be the Madlove. And that is summon number 4. Search the field spell, and then field spell effect, target the Madlove in order to search for the Caesar Valius, and then pass turn. End phase, you get your Snow Devil, and then we still have a lot of disruptions on the opponent's turn, so Madlove is going to be able to bounce back a monster again with the lowest defense. But when your monsters already have like huge stats, it's not a bad thing for you. And then the Holy Su can steal a monster, as you can clearly see. And we also have the the non-targeting pop from Caesar Valius, so that's another pop again. And we also have the ability to like destroy every monster with the Snow Devil, and Razen can destroy monsters. So yeah, pretty much off of only 2 cards, we get to interrupt our, well, no, I guess 2 cards, yeah, I mean, it's 1 card and any dark monster. We get to interrupt our opponent a grand total of 5 times, which I think is pretty respectable. Last but not least, and I think this is like a really obscure combo, but it really goes to show that even like the not perfect hands can still play in a really interesting way, because Madlove and a like blank dark monster, it doesn't do much of anything. And the reason for that is because Madlove is not like it gets you to like a way to really get like Jialong effect to like search and everything. And also you're gonna be like really far away from being able to like trigger Holy Su, because if you have a dark instead of a fire, then yeah, sure, you can recycle back the Madlove to serve as the dark, but then you're gonna have like 2 darks, so Holy Su won't be able to special summon from deck. And you're not even going to be getting the steal effect. But if you have like Heavy Burger, you can still do quite a lot, because Heavy Burger, like you're bouncing back a monster from your field to the hand, and it kind of allows you to cheat the system. So yeah, normal summon, and then obviously get your search for the field spell, make the link 1, search for the Razen off of the field spell by targeting Madlove before you make the link 1, and then special summon the Razen. Again, always make sure that it's in the other extra monster zone, just to make sure that you have as much coverage as possible. That is going to be searching for the Holy Su, and then Holy Su effect to summon itself. That is 4 summons, and then end phase you're going to be setting the Snow Devil, and this is where it gets really interesting. So on your opponent's main phase, you recycle back the Madlove, so now you have 2 dark monsters in your hand. However, it's now going to turn into a dark and a fire, because we can now bounce back the Razen in order to, you know, summon the Burger. And now we've got a fire and dark, so Holy Su can summon a Razen like dynamically at any moment on the opponent's turn. Even if your opponent was like kind of playing around it with the link 1, now it doesn't matter anymore, because we just summoned it at any moment, so we don't have the steal. However, we do have other disruptions, so Razen is going to now be searching for the Earth. And then we can destroy a monster, like all the monsters in this combo. So that's interruption number 1. Interruption number 2 is going to be the Snow Devil in order to destroy every monster. And then we also have the Madlove to bounce back a monster on the field if you can reveal like a dark as well. But unfortunately, there's no way to get a dark here. So yeah, unless Heavy Burger was able to draw one, if like the other 3 cards in your hand are blanks, then it's not going to work too well. But still, off of, you know, a pretty bad 2-card combo, you were still able to do all of that. And also you're generating resources in rotation, so you're hurting the opponent and you're really helping yourself out in the process. And that's one thing that really makes Vanquish Soul one of the best snowball decks in Yu-Gi-Oh, I think. But yeah, let's get into the deck profile now. So for the deck list, I am playing a lot of consistency cards, I guess, or at least trying to play as many as possible. So 3 Razen, 3 Madlove, as well as 3 Stake Your Soul, 3 Extravagance, 1 Prosperity, 1 Reinforcement of the Army. And then the cards that don't really do anything on their own would be, you know, Vanquish Soul Start, Jialong, as well as Holy Su. Some people are looking to playing less copies of Holy Su, like 2 copies. I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense, but I think that's a really good card because it's kind of like a potential hand shop on turn 0, so why would you play less copies, you know? Like, if you have Holy Su as well as any Vanquish Soul monster and, you know, a combination of Earth and Darks in your hand, it's one of the best hand shop, if not the best hand shop in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it's a non-targeting monster change of heart. Again, on turn 0, before your first turn even started. That's absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, the extra deck in this deck doesn't really matter too much, so Extravagance and Prosperity, they're pretty much free real estate. Reinforcement of the Army is just a 4th copy of Razen. Doesn't really search anything. I mean, it can search Rescue's Impulse, which is honestly not too bad. And Rescue's Impulse, just like Razen, Fire Warrior monster. So searchable by this card right here, Battle Boxer, King Dempsey. And honestly, it's not too bad. So if you want to look into it, you think it can be a consideration. However, this card is a rank 4 monster, so it's not like the easiest to summon in a deck that really is trying to link summon. And also, when you do have a lot of leftover monsters on the field, they're usually different levels, or like you're summoning all the monsters on the opponent's turn, so it's not really like it matters too much, or you actually need them to stay on the field, because all the Vanquish monsters, they have like great effects on the field. It's not like a blanks, you know, like another combo deck. But yeah, this is not a combo deck, it's a mid-range deck. But yeah, I think for the most part, the ratios here should make sense. 1 Xiaolong, like I said, 1 Caesar Valius, 1 Heavy Burger. You can definitely play like 2-3 Burger if you want to, but then you're gonna have to play a huge amount of like dark monsters to compensate. And I really wanted to max out on my fire monsters that were good, because like I said, if I have like a problem usually with attributes, it's with fire and dark, it's not with earth. So that's the reason why Ghost Bell is not a card that I think is like really good. I'd rather play DD Crow, because I think DD Crow is great in the mirror match. When your opponent goes Link 1, try to recycle back the Razen, you just DD Crow that, and you don't have to worry about that Razen very specifically. And also your opponent is like 1 attribute away from being able to play the game. So yeah, great hand shab, and it's also very good against Mitsurugi. It banishes the ritual spell when your opponent tries to recycle it back with Kusanagi, whereas like some other hand traps, sometimes they're not the best because your opponent can chain block. So another issue that I might potentially have with Ghost Bell. But yeah, I think this is like 23 hand traps if we include like Holy Soup. So triple DD Crow, triple Impulse, triple Ash, triple Fua, triple Imperm, as well as 2 Bestials. Yeah, actually that's 17, right? Yeah, 12, 15, 17, and then 20. Yeah, there we go. It's not 23, but, you know, close enough. And then the brick would be Fire Attacker, as well as Snow Devil, Vanquish Soul Start, if like you're just drawing them with like nothing else. But I can't really consider them bricks, because there's like a very high likelihood of you drawing at least one of your juice cards. And sometimes you don't even have like one of these cards specifically, but you still have like Holy Sue and a decent combination of cards. Like Holy Soup plus like, I don't know, maybe like Burger and Impulse. And that already gets you to play the game. It's that simple. But yeah, that's it for the main deck, 40 cards. Gotta keep it clean and minimalistic. No, don't try to play bad cards in the deck. And then for the extra deck, I'm playing Typhon, Zeus, Baguska, as well as Vanquish Soul Rocks, because it allows like any of your Vanquish Soul monster to randomly turn into a Zeus. But it's a little difficult to like, you know, turn on, because you have to like battle an Xyz monster, since your Xyz monster wouldn't have battled. So like your Zeus can be summoned on top of like the fact that you battled an opponent's Xyz, and then on main phase 2 you summon rocks on top of like your non-Xyz Vanquish Soul monster, and then you summon Zeus on top of your rocks. It's really copium. It might come up like once every 27 years, but I'm not a Vanquish Soul expert, so maybe it comes up more often. Underworld Goddess for like Lunalite Liger Dancer and stuff like that, but there's also obviously other routes. Access Code, huge attack stat, why not? Blackluster Soldier of Chaos, another great out to Liger Dancer. If you can run over a monster, it becomes 45, and if you summon it with like a high attack, high level monster, it's going to be really difficult for your opponent to deal with that card. It's really annoying. The Nightmare monsters, you can potentially play Phoenix instead of Unicorn if you want to, but I wanted like a Link 3 to climb into Access Code once I use like a Hita as well as Dark. And then, yeah, speaking of the Devil, Hita and Dark, SP Lone Knight, Nightmare Cerberus, and Rock of the Vanquisher. SP is actually a little difficult to summon in this deck, because you can't use Rock of the Vanquisher off, you know, as a link material. So that's like the big annoying thing. That's the reason why Nightmare Cerberus can be summoned in like the zone it points to, and then you can, you know, destroy the Baguska like that your opponent has, and then draw a card. So yeah, Cerberus is a great card, but SP, I mean, it's obviously a good card. It's just not as easy to like take full advantage of as a card like Nightmare Cerberus, where you literally get like the full advantage since you're also drawing a card. And for the idea section, if you feel like you need more Earths, obviously you can play Molchemy Meows potentially in the main deck. So that's a cool thing. It's the only Chummy that has a relevant attribute, because Wind and Water, it doesn't give you anything, whereas like obviously Earth is good. And if there's ever like a Chummy Fire monster, that would be insane for this deck. And I mean, it's the next one, honestly. We have like all three, we have all the elemental attributes except Fire. Anyways, Gallant Granite, you can search a rock monster with this, so Nibiru, and I think there's nothing else that you can search actually, so it's kind of shit. Yeah, it's probably not going to come up too often. King Dempsey, like I said, searches Razen or Impulse. Okay, the Kashtira package is pretty good. You know, Fenrir can search Rise Art, and then you can special summon Rise Art, normal summon like a Chummy, and then you make Dempsey search like a, I don't know, Razen, and then pass turn. it's not the best, but you can obviously just search the Rise Art and then not do anything with the Rise Art, and then you have like a fire monster in your hand, or you search Fenrir and then you got an Earth monster. But like I said, Earth attribute is not like the best in this deck. It only really matters for like Holy Sue being able to like take control, this being able to bounce back, and you know, obviously Caesar Valius being able to like destroy a card on the field, and Burger being able to burn. But you know, and obviously Snow Devil. It's still relevant. It's just not as good as Fire and Dark, like I said. Super heavy Samurai package. It's a lot of bricks. It's kind of copium, but it obviously does a lot technically. Ghost Bell, Nibiru, whatever, Pancratops. This is an Earth monster, but it's a very good card. Phantasmate, Dark monster, and it's really, really good against link-based strategies like the Mirror Match, Malice, etc., where you can just dig into your blowouts. Shifter, obviously a turn skip against a lot of decks, and it's a Dark monster, so it's really cool. Retelling Sea is a blowout against a lot of decks like Lunalight as well as Memento, so it's a card to consider potentially. Ghost Reaper, if you do not feel like Extravagance is going to be a problem for you, you just play a lot of like Reaper targets, and you can hit, you know, Detonator or Leo Dancer, so your opponent can never make Liger Dancer either. Just makes a lot of like, it turns like a lot of your opponent's cards into dead cards. So I think Ghost Reaper can be pretty cool, actually, this format. I mean, it's always like a random, very niche, meta call. Anyways, Droll and Logbird, it doesn't give you anything because it's a wind, but it's a good card to play. That's it for this Vanquish Soul combo video and deck profile. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys very soon with another video. Peace.